Welcome back, boxing fans, to another great show with Sean on Boxing and Sleepy Lily. So, obviously, the big weekend is here. Everything we've been waiting for is upon us. And this is some exciting shit. Everybody's talking about it. I heard people talking about how this fight's not being promoted well, but yet everywhere you look, all I see is Canelo Alvarez, Bud Crawford shit. So much so that it's eclipsing Anui versus MJ Akhmedov, which is a huge fight as well. Potentially the best or second best, maybe third best fight of Anui's career, right? But yet that fight is completely being overlooked because obviously this is a huge weekend. The fight of the year, Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford. Two top 10 pound for pound fighters. Like, I don't understand how you'd call yourself a boxing fan, but not be exuberant and excited about two top 10 pound for pound fighters matching up. I'm super stoked. I can't wait. It's going to be a great weekend. Not just a great card that's going to be free on Netflix. Free on Netflix. So that in itself is fucking fantastic. Like, I mean, you go to Netflix and you just scroll in. Where are you, Netflix? I know you're somewhere on my phone. Uh, I'm so blind I can't even see things when they're on my phone. There you are. So then you go to Netflix, and what pops up on your phone? Oh, surprise, surprise. This time it didn't pop up. Usually it's like the first thing that pops up on my phone of things to watch. Now it's like some crazy Chinese drama. But like obviously this is getting a shitload of push, both on Netflix and both through social media. I've seen a million hype videos from Ring Magazine. I just watched a great video, which I'm just finishing right now, which is just looking at sort of an encapsulation of Canelo Alvarez's career. And it's just funny when you watch this and then you think about some of the negativity that consistently sort of follows Canelo Alvarez around. It's like what he's done has been fantastic. But yet, from day one, when the kid was 23 years old, people were trying to find ways to discredit him and downplay him. Even before he was 23, when he fought Shane Mosley and quite a few top contenders like Citron and other guys early on in his career, and people were poo-pooing on him even back then. But Evan Deer's in the house. I might even put $100 on MJ. I think Inui's dominance has to do with people overlooking his next fight as well. Huh? Wayne Evans salutes. He's so dominant, many casuals think it makes him unbeatable, too. So they talk about his great fight. You mean with Junto Nakatani? Well, obviously, people are always looking forward to what's next. With Inui, I just made a video earlier this week talking about the fact that apparently this December, a fight with him and Picasso is already agreed to. So this dude just stays busy. He just keeps doing what he's got to do. And that's what you got to respect about guys like them. Super professional, always in the gym, always looking at the next fight. And you know Inui's not overlooking MJ. This is his team that's organizing his next events. Not him specifically, but, I'm stoked. I think he's going to beat MJ. But at the same time, I think it's going to be a tough fight. What was my prediction? Let's look at my prediction league predictions for these two fights. Since we're here, we might as well look at this right away just to break it down. Boxing predictions by Sean. Where are you? Hey, last week how good I did in my prediction league? I killed it. Where's that shit? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Week 8, number 1 with Jesse Langhorne, Sean Newton with 140 points. That shit was solid. Solid week. I have Canelo by KO and MJ winning 115, 113 or 116, 112. Well, let's see my predictions. It's right here. Bud Crawford by majority decision. Anui by 10th round TKO. Bolchuk by 6, Bimbili by 10, Walsh by split decision, da da da. Olaskagu by split decision, Valoria by 8th round, Hackett by majority decision, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez by 7th round. He's coming back, fighting not the best opponents, but obviously it's a homecoming fight for him. And I think they're trying to put him in position for a world title fight early 2026. But this is an exciting weekend. Let's chop this shit up. I think I've heard some criticism, even from Tim Bradley, which is no surprise. Tim Bradley has literally fucking been punch drunk with the things that guy's been saying over the last, fucking 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He's literally been fucking off his rocker. And it's cool that you're a Bud Crawford fan, but it's just the ridiculousness of many of these takes that guys like him are perpetuating. Drunk Irishman's in the house. What's up, my brother? But overall, this is going to be a fucking great weekend of boxing. Let's check it out here. I'm going to share my screen, and then we can go through this card. I mean, I don't know why people are critical of a free card on Netflix that's really deep. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a solid card. Is this the best card that Turki Al-Sheikh has put on? No. But it's probably the freest fucking card that Turki Al-Sheikh has put on. So that in itself has a lot to say. You could pay for some bullshit PPC fucking fight with Pacquiao and Mario Barros, or Funduro versus fucking Keith Thurman, spend $80 for those fucking pay-per-views, as opposed to moaning and groaning about a potential fight with Canelo Alvarez and Bud Crawford. Explain that shit to me. I just don't get it. I don't get it. But what do you expect from these fans? They're ridiculous. So we just click this open and start breaking it down. So there you go right there. Overall, this is a fucking pretty great overall card for DAZN, or sorry, not even DAZN. This is obviously, like I said, on Netflix. Where's the issue to complain? First of all, you got Marco Verdi, right? This kid right here, 2-0, 1 KO, 23-year-old Mexican kid who was an Olympic medalist. It's very seldom that you end up getting a Mexican fighter that has such a huge amateur pedigree behind him, right? At 23 years old, at this age, Canelo Alvarez was already a 154-pound world champion. Marco Verdi obviously is 2-0 with 1 KO, this being his third fight. He's fighting, a step-up opponent, going from 4-5-3 to 4-4, now fighting a kid that's 9-3. And what is this kid? 37-year-old, coming off of 2 losses back-to-back. Obviously a fight here with Nico Ali Walsh, right? So, there you go. That was a good win for Nico Ali Walsh. If you go back farther, you could see that this guy beat Nico Ali Walsh by majority decision. Nico Ali Walsh rematched him, got by him. And Nico Ali Walsh, when he fought him, was obviously a far more proven fighter with already 8 professional fights, as opposed to this kid who's only in his third. So I think it's going to be a great matchup. I mean, I think Verdi looks the real fucking deal. And Mexican boxing fans are looking for that next great superstar. Speaking of that, stay tuned later this week. I'm going to talk about who is the potential fighter from Mexico or Mexico origin that's going to take over the boxing world. Or is there one, right? Right now we're in a position where obviously Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing in America. But is there a potential Mexican fighter somewhere around who potentially could supplant him? Because obviously Canelo is not going to be fighting forever. I mean, based on what happens this weekend, this might be the last fight of his career. Imagine if Bud Crawford goes in there and really does destroy him. You could understand Canelo Alvarez completely retiring after something of that nature, right? Justifiably so. Hard Recall says, salute Sean in the chat. I'm back at work. Good. It's about time you started working, my brother. But as far as Verdi, he's a very exciting young up-and-coming fighter. Then you have my favorite up-and-coming young fighter in Ryutsu Tsutsumi, right? This kid is 2-0 as well, 23 years old as well. Obviously, a guy who was a great amateur fighter. I call him the Japanese Lomachenko. He's stepping in to face a kid in Javier Martinez, who's 7-2 in his third professional fight. Right? I mean, what else would you expect from the kid? He's in with a veteran fighter with 9 professional fights, only stopped once in his career. Obviously, he's coming off of back-to-back losses as well. So it's no surprise. Generally, when you have these young prospects, you're not putting them in with killers. You're putting them in with fighters that you think give them some work, but ultimately are not good enough to beat them. And yeah, I'm excited by him. I think he's going to be great. Yes, Salas trains him. Yeah, that's true, Tavern. And I think this kid's really going to improve a lot because, there's always that initial sort of transition from the amateurs to the pros. You're trying to become more pro style, not throwing as many punches, but making sure the punches you throw are better, sharper. Um, so I expect him just to really get better really quick. If you look at his brother and how quickly he jumped into high level fights, it did not take time at all. His brother is right now in position to fight for a 130-pound world title. And then you got this kid, Muhammad Alakel. Um, I watched this kid fight on one of the Turkey cards, right? Young kid, 21 years old. For Saudi Arabia, we know they're putting a lot of money into boxing, but they don't have really any boxers, right, for Saudi Arabian fans to get behind. This kid looks really good. He's not the biggest puncher, but as far as skill set, he looks really good. And I admit the opposition he's been in with aren't the best fighters around, but he's really looked fucking slick, really good, very well coached. Obviously, he too is jumping in with a more experienced fighter as well. Only 5 professional fights, 21 years old. He's somebody to pay attention to, especially if you would like to see Saudi Arabia actually produce something worthwhile. And he looks good. Is he going to be a superstar? Probably not. But, for Saudi Arabia, they just want somebody to follow and somebody to cheer for. And so far, he looks the real deal as far as that's concerned. Then you got Steven Nelson. Steven Nelson's a bad, bad man. 20 victories, 16 knockouts, only 1 loss in a very close fight, a very competitive fight, a fight that many people actually said they thought Nelson beat my man. What's his face? Starts with a P. I can't even remember what it's called. But I felt he lost the fight, but nonetheless, it was still a good fight. He was with a kid in Diego Pacheco, who I think is one of the best fighters in the 168-pound division. Now he's stepping in to face this kid, Rielko Satana. Japanese name, Mexican name, 16-4, 6 KOs, never been stopped, straight out of Compton, straight out of Cuba. So the kid's skilled, right? He's got 2 losses, 1 to Lester Martinez. We know Lester Martinez is right there in world title contention right now. He went the distance with him when Lester Martinez was 9-0. Then he lost to this kid who was 7-0, Daniel Blancas. So he's lost to really high-level prospects, right? He beat a kid in Lorenzo Simpson, 14-1. His last fight, Marcus Moore, 11-2. Joseph George, 12-0. So he's been fighting really solid opposition. And of course, I expect Steven Nelson to beat him. But I think it's a solid opponent. Solid opponent. Evan MJ plus 500. Look at these guys. They're all going for MJ to pull the upset. Then you get into this fight, a heavyweight matchup. Ivan Dichko, very successful career amateur, 35 years old from Kazakhstan. The guy's huge, 6'9", a monster, 15 wins, 14 KOs. The problem with him is his career's really been slow. Turning pro in 2017, had 4 fights that year, 3 fights in 2018, 2 fights in 2019, 2 fights in 2021, 1 in 2022, 1 in 2023, 1 in 2024. And finally, this year, he's got multiple fights. And Jermaine Franklin is a serious fucking opponent. 23-2, 15 KOs. This kid's never been stopped, right? Tough as nails. This was the kind of guy that uh, tough fighters we're talking about matching up with because they know how good he is. Even his two losses, a majority loss to Dillian White, right? And many people feel he beat Dillian White in that fight. And then, of course, his loss to Anthony Joshua, um, which obviously he lost. But think about the level, right? You losing to a world title champion guy in Anthony Joshua, that speaks volumes. And now he's going to be fighting this kid, Ditchko, a monster. And to be fair, Ditchko hasn't been in with very good competition. When you look at the guy he's been in with, I mean, it's pretty mediocre for the most part. A few old fighters that were good like 10 years ago, and that's about all. Like him stepping into face Jermaine Franklin now, this is a potential upset alert. If you want to bet on the fight, people, maybe this is the fight you should pay attention to. Ditchko versus Jermaine Franklin Jr. Upset alert. Look forward to Jermaine Franklin Jr. pulling the upset and beating the 6'9" Kazakh fighter. Don't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked at all. Then, of course, one of the most exciting young up and coming fighters in boxing, in Callum Walsh, a kid that probably isn't getting as much talk about in the boxing world as he should, because he's mostly been tied together with the UFC. He's been promoted on those Dana White UFC cards. And because of that, he's kind of been outside the boxing universe. So a lot of hardcore boxing fans haven't really seen him fight, aren't that familiar with him. 14-0, 11 KOs, 24 years old, out of Ireland. We know Ireland's got like a really, really strong boxing foundation of hardcore fans in Ireland and in America, Boston, New York area. The kid's 6 foot tall with a 72-inch reach. He looks like he checks all the boxes, right? You fight out of Boston, you fight in Ireland. This kid is a potential money-making machine, right? Is he going to be a pay-per-view superstar? Not in America, but in the UK, very well could be. Very well could be. Him stepping into face Fernando Vargas Jr., 17-0. I mean, this is a great fight for two young fighters matching up with each other right now. Vargas, obviously 17-0 with 15 KOs, 28 years old, 5'11 with a 72-inch reach. These guys are very similar. Very similar. I don't think Vargas is as good as his younger brother, and he is obviously not getting as much push as his younger brother. But just on the outside looking in, this is a very good matchup between two young up-and-coming fighters. I think, obviously, Callum Walsh is going to win, but I would not be surprised to see Fernando Vargas Jr. do something spectacular. I mean, we know who his father is. We know there's a lot of onus and push for him to do well for the three brothers, right? They've been getting a lot of PR, a lot of push. Obviously, the one brother is the most exciting fighter and the one getting the biggest push. But don't dismiss and downplay the other brothers as well. They're all training, motivating each other. Their dad's a fucking great fighter, was a great amateur, and obviously had a great pro career, even though it was short. Then this matchup between Sergey Bolchuk and Brandon Adams. It's a great matchup. Adams is the only guy to knock out Sergey Bolchuk, right? When he was getting tons of press, tons of publicity, he was the next great Eastern European fighter. And then he got flatlined by Brian Adams. The FBA YouTubers were super fucking stoked when that happened because, they had every opportunity to shit on an Eastern European fighter who got fucking flatlined by an FBA fighter. Now this is Bolchuk's chance to redeem himself, to get revenge. And Brandon Adams is a fucking good fighter. He's got 4 losses, but the kid's tough as nails. 1 loss by KO. His last fight, this fight, which was part of that Q something boxing tournament at welterweight, he lost to the Greek kid, Andre Kurdakakis, by split decision. This fight was super competitive, super close, very easily could have went his way. And this is after good victories over Villarreal and Verone, 2 fights where he really fought excellent, obviously beating Boholchuk back in 2021, stopping him in 8 rounds. You go back to 19 when he fought for the world title versus Charlo, right? Beat Shane Mosley Jr., beat Kurkovich, which was a really hyped fighter at one point. Tyrone Brunson, very solid fighter. And then a kid that I don't even know who he is, Apollo Thomas, right? Knocked him out in 2 rounds on ESPN's Boxino tournament final, right? Talk about a surprise. I lost to Willie Monroe Jr. back there, part of ESPN's 2014 Boxino tournament. So this kid was always part of Boxino, always losing the finals to Willie Monroe, losing the finals to Apollo Thompson, and then of course, just recently, obviously losing to Court Kakis. So, well, he's a kid that doesn't necessarily get the big fights and big victories. It's not that he's not doing well. In all those fights, he's showing up and he's performing. But now for him, this is another opportunity to really make a statement. If he was able to beat Bohulchuk one more time, guaranteed this is going to lead him to a potential world title fight. Guaranteed. And for Bohulchuk, this is his opportunity to redeem himself, right? He beats this guy impressively, and then obviously it keeps him in the conversation for all the other world champions at the 154-pound division, or even a potential move to 160, which is not the strongest division right now in boxing. So it would definitely have a lot of opportunity for him to move up there and maybe take on the great Kazakhstanian fighter, the unified champion up there, right, who's definitely looking for an opponent. Then the fight of the night, Lester Martinez versus Christian Mbili. I would love for Lester Martinez to win. I mean, I would love it. But as I showed you on my prediction league, I am predicting where is it? Mbili to win by 10th round TKO. I'm also expecting Bohulchuk to win by 6th round, Walsh by split decision, Ditchko by majority decision, Nelson by 8th round. So, do as you may, but I definitely think we got a lot of exciting fights to pay attention to. And I'm stoked. And then, of course, the fight of the night, fucking Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. I mean, you can't get any better than this. Like, as a boxing fan, what else do you want but 2 pound-for-pound fighters getting together? And with all the hype and all the narratives that have been pushed over the last month, right, whether it's guys like Paulie or Tim Bradley hating on Canelo and boosting up Bud Crawford, or the guys who've been boosting up Canelo and shitting on Bud Crawford, talking about PEDs and everything else. Bud Crawford just coming out with a picture looking like a monster, only reinforcing a lot of the PED talk, right? Not that I'm saying anything about it, but obviously when you put a picture out like that, when people are already talking about snack, it's only going to re-energize that conversation. But for me, I always said the same thing. I don't want Bud Crawford to put on too much weight. I think if he does, it's going to potentially hurt his legs, hurt his mobility. And if he's not mobile, then that's when I potentially can see him getting beat by Canelo Alvarez. But as I said in my prediction, I got Bud Crawford winning by decision. I think it's probably going to be a majority decision. Obviously, Canelo Alvarez always gets a lot of support from Las Vegas judges. So I do think that, for Bud Crawford to beat him, it's going to have to be a pretty solid performance. Don't be shocked or surprised if people are talking about robbery post-fight, because that's the nature of the boxing world we live in right now. People love the controversy. And it's not that I don't think Canelo can win. I just think for Canelo to win, he's going to have to really get to Bud Crawford's body with some real significant punches. And we'll see if he's able to do that. If he can, then look forward to a potential highlight knockout. Or I think Bud Crawford, just controlling the distance, controlling the tempo, goes on to win a decision. Whether split, majority, or unification, it don't really matter. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think? Obviously, this is the fight of the year, in my opinion. Tavern says both coming in under 168 limit. Cheatham a judge. I know. Yeah. No, I would not be surprised if both of them come under 168, because for Canelo, he's going to want to be more mobile, right? and a little more active. As I said with regards to Canelo, Tank Davis, Deontay Wilder, one of the negative those guys had is that their volume is too low. And if you're such a low volume fighter, you're there to be beaten by anybody that's able to outwork you, right? You can be outworked. Obviously, it's dangerous to outwork guys like that because they have great power, and that is definitely an equalizer. And it has been an equalizer for all three of their careers. But ultimately, you get to a point where you run into the wrong guy, and you're not able to use your power. It's not effective. It's no longer the equalizer, and eventually or inevitably, you get beat. We saw it obviously with Wilder when he stepped up to face Fury. And then, of course, we saw it with Tank Davis in his last fight versus Tevin Farmer, a fight most people felt he'd lost because he was just outworked the majority of the fight. Farmer was landing Lamont Roach was landing a lot of clean punches that whole fight. And then, of course, we saw Canelo Alvarez versus Bivol, and he was clearly outworked in that fight. Clearly, that was the big difference in that fight, that Bivol was just putting his punches together so effectively. So there was no reasonable expectation for Canelo to even win on the cards in that fight because it was so obvious that he was being outworked and outlanded. But what a fantastic card. I'm stoked. I know a lot of fans have been poo-pooing on this card because some people are just never happy with fucking anything. Like, to be fair, you have four really good young up-and-coming fighters in this card. Then, of course, you have, some good veteran fighters like Ditchko and Nelson. And then you got two guys literally at the peak of their career in Mbili and Lester Martinez, right? This is for the WBC interim world super middleweight title. The winner of this puts themselves right in position to potentially be the WBC mandatory for a Canelo Alvarez or potentially Terrence Bud Crawford undisputed unification fight, right? And what a better place to showcase yourself than on a card that's going to have this many eyes on it. I mean, don't be surprised if 20 to 30 million people watch this shit on Netflix. And don't be surprised if it fucking freezes like all the other fights do. Hopefully Netflix has worked that shit out because it's a little frustrating. I suffered through it the last time, and hopefully we don't have to suffer through it this time. Knock on wood. But I'm excited. I think it's funny because, of course, you're looking at a lot of the narratives coming out, and people are so mental in a sense. I mean, it's okay that you want Bud Crawford to win. And it's okay if you want Canelo Alvarez to win. Like, it's not a fucking shock or surprise. I literally heard the usual suspects talking about how the majority of American boxing fans are rooting for Canelo Alvarez. That's a blatant fucking lie. A blatant fucking lie. Every single poll you see across social media talking about who are you predicting is going to win, it's almost 50-50, right? 46 to 52. Usually it's around that range. And sure, Canelo Alvarez in most of the ones I've seen is a slight favorite over Bud Crawford, but a slight favorite, right? It's not as if it's 80-20 or even a 60-40. I haven't seen any 60-40 cards. Everything has been very competitive, telling you that this shit is a fight that people really are up in arms about who's going to win. There's a lot of people that really favor Bud Crawford. And then again, there's a lot of people that really favor Canelo Alvarez. I felt all along that Bud Crawford could win, and I felt confident that he could win. So me predicting him, it's mostly because I feel I've never seen him get beat before. So until I see him get beat, it's hard for me to pick against him, right? But in saying that, I think this is a very competitive fight. I saw some people talking about this in comparison to Sugar Ray Leonard versus Marvin Hagler. And this is a similar situation. The same kind of way that Leonard beat Hagler by outworking him, letting his hands go, staying out of his range, fighting at his tempo, stealing rounds by late flurries. This is the same thing I think Bud Crawford could very well do against Canelo Alvarez, right? The big difference between obviously Leonard and Hagler is that Hagler wasn't giving up reach to Leonard, whereas Crawford literally has 4 inch advantage over Canelo Alvarez. So it's going to be that much easier for him to potentially land shots and control range. When we look at Marvin Hagler, where is that box rec? I think Hagler's reach was about 74 inches. Leonard's, I'm not sure what it was, but I don't think it was as long as Hagler's. I could be wrong. What are you doing, box rec? I'm writing. Fucking, what's wrong with you? Come on. Oh my God. What's your fucking beef, man? Jesus Christ. Like, what's going on with my internet, man? Sometimes the internet is as frustrating as fuck. Hagler. Holy crap. You can't make this shit up. How fucking slow is this? Never mind. Fuck it. I'm just going to talk to the people that know. ChatGPT never lets me down. Excuse me, I was wondering how long was Marvelous Marvin Hagler's reach and how much was Sugar Ray Leonard's reach? So let's give that a minute to kick in and then we'll figure it out. So here are the official reach measurements for both fighters. Marvelous Marvin Hagler had a 75-inch reach, 75. For a dude that was about 5'9", 5'10", he had some long fucking arms. And Leonard, who was 5'10", had a 74-inch reach, which was fucking pretty long. Same reach as Bud Crawford. So Hagler had a 1-inch reach advantage over Leonard in that 1987 clash, whereas Bud Crawford has a 4-inch reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez. So, you know, he definitely has some advantages that Hagler, Hagler definitely had some advantages over Canelo Alvarez, as well as being a lefty as well. But this is not the only great fight card of the weekend. There's also going to be a prelim fight card that's going to be happening as a precursor to the event, sort of like a welcome here type of thing. This is going to be on Wednesday, I guess, when they all come in and do their walkthrough. So you're going to have this fight card that's going to be there as well. So there's just going to be a shitload of boxing, right? You get this kid, Beck, Nuremberg, Beck, 14-12, Kazakhstani and 27-year-old fighter, against this kid, Steve Sumter, 11-1-1. That should be a really good fight. This kid looks really good. One of those unspoken Eastern Europeans, but a guy that obviously is going to be able to showcase himself. And then a few other unknown fighters on the card, all undefeated fighters, undefeated fighters. So that's going to be, I guess, on, what do they call it, when all the fighters come and do a walkthrough? But I guess that fight card is going to be post the walkthrough, just as a way to entertain all the fans that come to watch the fighters come to Vegas and do the walkthrough and be announced officially. So, you know, it's going to be a big event. I actually wish I was in Vegas for this. It'd be fucking exciting. Super exciting. And then on the Sunday, and I think this should be part of that whole thing as well. It's a shame that it's not, because right now, the big drawback is the fact that nobody really knows how to watch the Sanui fight. The fact that Top Rank doesn't have a platform right now to showcase its fighters, nobody knows where they can watch Inouye versus MJ. This is literally one of the biggest fights of Inouye's fucking career, yet nobody knows what channel or what platform they can watch this on. I don't understand why DAZN isn't showcasing this, right? With Inui's relationship with Saudi Arabia, being one of the spokespeople for Riyadh season, you figure that Turkey Al Sheikh would have compelled DAZN to put this event on DAZN. And why not? Because it's in Japan. So you showcasing on DAZN, it's not even going to cost you a lot of money, right? But yet you give all your fans this huge fucking event. And the great thing about it is obviously it's coming after a Bud Crawford Canelo Alvarez super fight. So, I'm stoked by this. Obviously, to be fair, I'm more excited about Inui versus MJ because obviously I'm a bigger fan of Inui than I am of Canelo or Bud Crawford. And I'm really excited to see what he can do in this fight. Already, you saw through the comment section, a lot of people are picking MJ to pull the upset because the money is good. And to be fair, MJ is a great fighter. 14-1, 11 KOs, kids physically in his prime, 30 years old, 5'5" and a half, 68-inch reach, which is a really great reach for these smaller fighters. He's got the reach advantage over Inui. Obviously, he has very good power, almost a 79% KO ratio, and he's been in with great opponents. Like, there's not a lot of bums on his resume. When you kick into the first part of his career, he really started to take on legitimate opponents in his fifth fight when he fought Isaac Karate and then Carlos Carlson, Soto, and then Daniel Roman for his first world title, right? Inside 10 fights. And then Owasa, and then Vasquez, Rios, and then obviously his loss to Palace, a split decision loss. And some people feel he won that fight. I felt he lost, but a lot of the justification was that he was coming off of an injury and obviously wasn't at his best. So I definitely think for an Inui fight, we're going to see the best version of MJ. And because of how Inui has looked vulnerable, right? Literally vulnerable. He got knocked down in the Roman Cardenas fight. And then you move back 2 fights prior to that, he got knocked down by Luis Neri. So 2 out of his last 4 fights, the dude got dropped, right? And this is coming off of victory, dominance. Like, he was dominating these fighters, destroying guys. Like, when we go to Emmanuel Rodriguez, we can go to Payano, okay, or we go to McDonald's. So since he moved up. So first round knockout, second round knockout. Donaire went the distance, but he did get knocked out. The judge just dropped the ball. 7th round knockout, 3rd round knockout, 8th round knockout. Donaire gone in 2. Butler 11 rounds after running like crazy. Fulton in 8. Palace in 10. Neri in 6. Dehoyne in 7. Kim 4. Cardenas in 8. Like, he's just been running through people. But maybe because of his overconfidence, right? And the fact that he's been able to absorb punches from guys like Donaire, who's got one of the best left hands in boxing. And he was able to absorb it, get his face broken in the process, but nonetheless, he didn't get dropped, right? So he probably was feeling, there's not much people can do to stop me. I'm a fucking beast. I'm a god. I'm walking on fucking this earth like a god. And then you get fucking caught with 2 short fucking hooks in the inside, get dropped by the exact same punch. That's the kind of punch MJ can 100% land versus Inui. 100% he can land that shot, right? And obviously, you don't expect one punch to get Inui out of there, but if you can hurt him and then follow that shit up with hard combinations, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Like, in the boxing world, nothing is predictable. Anything can happen, right? I could see Crawford stopping Canelo, even though that's not as likely. I could definitely see fucking Canelo stopping Crawford, even though we've never seen Crawford get stopped before. I could see Inui get stopped in a fight just as well as seeing MJ get stopped as well. Look forward to MJ getting stopped by the body, because that's the way I think he's going to get beat. Body shot, left hand to the gut, MJ on the ground. kind of like what we saw Lomachenko do to Linares. That's how I think this fight's going to end. But let me know if you agree or not. Is it straight right or left hook that will hurt Crawford? Well, Crawford, depending on his stance, right? Like, obviously, if he's from the left-hand position, it's going to be that straight right hand down the pipe, right? And then, obviously, it'll be interesting to see how Crawford's jab is able to work from the southpaw stance, because usually, you're not as effective landing your jabs versus orthodox and southpaws. But if he turns, obviously, to the orthodox position, now Crawford could land that jab like he was landing against Spence, right? Hard, fast, straight down the middle, right? And I think that punch would be a great shot versus Canelo. Not that he's going to stop Canelo from jabs, but you're going to fucking hurt him. You're going to win rounds. You're going to fucking reset his fucking timing consistently every time you hit him with one of those big fucking jabs. And what it does is it allows you to jump in and maybe dig to the body, throw something fucking else to the head. So, I would not underestimate Bud Crawford. Sharp punching, you don't have to be the hardest puncher, but if you're a sharp puncher, that's everything, man. Sharp, crisp shots, right? You don't even have to put anything behind it. If you land a shot and the timing is perfect, the dude's head's going to fly back, right? Even if there's not a lot of power on it. All I know, it's going to be a great weekend. I'm fucking stoked. I'm on fire. I'm hyped up. I know I'm not like some of you guys putting money on it, flashing the Benjamins. I've never been the kind of guy that like to bet on sports at all. A few dollars in the ponies here and there, but that's about as much gambling as I will do. But I definitely think, it would not hurt to put money on Terence Crawford. And it would not hurt to put money on MJ Akhmadov, right? The payback potentially is going to be very good. I'll be really curious to see what late money comes down on the Canelo Alvarez-Bud Crawford fight. I definitely, as I was saying, a lot of the polls have the fight pretty competitive right now. But I think a lot of late money for Canelo Alvarez will come in just because of his size advantage, the fact that he is a more natural 168-pound fighter. And we've seen a fighter come up from 154 that people were talking about being a pound-for-pound great fighter. People were talking about Charlo and how, he was fucking the second best pound-for-pound fighter in boxing at one time, right? Only for him to come up and take on Canelo Alvarez and literally look like trash, right? And not to say Crawford is like Charlo. I always favored Crawford to beat Charlo in that matchup. So I definitely think Crawford is much more of a dog and has a much deeper tool bag than Charlo does. But it's a eerie similarity, right? Because people were stoked with fucking Charlo. Charlo's a undisputed pound-for-pound fighter. He's a guy that was undisputed at 154. Why doesn't he get more love, more attention? Well, it took him multiple fights to do that after multiple losses. Obviously, he lost to Tony Harrison. And a lot of people feel he lost to the Argentinian kid, Castano, as well. But nonetheless, you literally needed 2 fights for each of those guys to put yourself in position to become undisputed. And then once you become undisputed, what do? You don't fight anybody legitimate. You fucking literally go up to cash out versus Canelo Alvarez and fight like a fucking bum. And then, of course, you got silly-ass Waldochenko here doing what these PBC fucking fuckboys do. No matter how many times the PBC fucking rain shit down on their heads, they still fucking come up with the stupidest narratives ever. Prime Jermell sleeps Bud. What do you mean prime? Which version is prime Jermell? Jermell's younger than fucking Crawford. So was he prime when he beat Castano and became undisputed? Or was he just not prime when he fought Canelo? Which was literally what? A fucking year later? Which was the prime? The prime version was the prime version of the guy that got beat by fucking Tony Harrison, a guy with no fucking chin. Was that the prime fucking Charlo? Which is the prime Charlo? Let me know, silly ass Chenko. Who's the prime Charlo? Because prime Charlo, whoever the fuck that is, was always going to get beat by Bud Crawford. That's why he talks a load of shit, but fucking never showed any inclination to actually take on that fight. None. Madrimov was smacking up Crawford. Imagine what Charlo from Castano rematch would do. See, once again, that's the stupidest narrative I've ever fucking heard. Madrimov, first of all, was not smacking up Crawford. The dude was fucking barely landing any punches because he was barely fucking throwing any punches. Castano beat fucking Charlo the first time around. So what? Was that prime fucking Charlo that got beat by Castano? Like, come on, dude. It didn't take Bud Crawford fucking 2 fights to beat anyone. Like, you're the same dude that was fucking acting like Errol Spence was going to destroy Bud Crawford. Once again, the PBC rained shit down on your fucking head. And then you were talking about Charlo beating Canelo at 168. Once again, the PBC raining shit down on your head. You're talking about how Tank Davis was this and that. And then fucking once again, fucking the PBC rained shit down on your head when he fucking lost to fucking Lamont Roach. Right? Like, dude, you can't make this shit up. The more you guys fucking dick ride the PBC, the stupider you fucking look. Because never has the PBC fucking done you right. Never. Errol ain't no Charlo, Newton. No, he's better. He didn't lose to a bum like Tony fucking Harrison. No chin, motherfucker. Right? They got knocked out by fucking mediocre fucking, dudes that weren't even top 10, like Willie Nelson. That's who Charlo got beat by. Congratulations. I am a dream guy, not a tank guy. Oh, so you're fucking an LDBC fuckboy. Oh, that's fucking even worse. Imagine tying your fucking career to Devin fucking Haney. I don't know what's wrong with you guys to think that somehow putting your channels and your whole narrative on Devin Haney somehow is going to work out well for you in the future. Devin Haney has never been that good and ain't going to get any better. He's not going to be Floyd fucking Mayweather. He ain't Floyd Mayweather. The kid's nowhere fucking close to Floyd Mayweather. You look at prime Floyd Mayweather, that dude was fucking great. Devin Haney has never been great. Never. I'm going to be tired this morning for the Inouye MJ fight, given the fact that I'm going to invest energy late at night to BS with everyone the night before. Madrimov didn't do anything to Crawford. Nothing. The dude was afraid to let his fucking hands go. You can't win a fight if you don't throw a punch. A dream guy. Laughed my ass out. Yeah, these dream guys, man. Like, these are the same dudes that were fucking Wilder fucking guys. And and then they were fucking Spence guys. How did Wilder and Spence work out for you? Fucking pretty well. Before that, they were Adrian Broner guys. These dudes loved Adrian Broner when they were talking about Adrian Broner being the next Floyd Mayweather until he stepped up and fucking got massacred at 147 when he finally stepped up and took on a legitimate opponent. And then his career fucking went down the shitter faster than you could say PBC. Nobody is on Floyd's level. Well, that ain't true. Nobody of this era, maybe, but to say nobody's on Floyd's level, that's just pure fucking ignorance. GG looks sad losing to Canelo. And once again, you ask this guy, what does this have to do with the conversation we're having now? I made a comparison, which was about Canelo Alvarez. GG looks sad losing to Canelo. Of course you look sad when you lose a fight, especially in the first fight when you got fucking blatantly robbed on the scorecards. Yeah, you're going to look sad. And then the rematch, you're fighting a guy who failed a drug test. Imagine if fucking GG was black, FBA fighter. We would still fucking hear guys like you, Richard Sampson, moaning and groaning about PED Gate 2.0. Right? These dudes would still be talking about the fact that Canelo was cheating on PEDs when he beat Golovkin. But because Golovkin fans aren't weak bitches like you don't hear that conversation. He lost, and we moved on. And still, to try to downplay fucking non-black fighters You always got to pull fucking Golovkin out of your pocket. And whenever you're trying to hype up a black fighter, you got to pull fucking Floyd Mayweather out of your pocket. Literally the only two names you got. Shit's boring, man. It just shows your lack of boxing IQ. Just like Waldo, who thinks Floyd Mayweather is the best of all time. Yeah, okay, sure he is. He got robbed, of course. He was sad. You dummy, just like Loma. Yeah, whenever you get robbed and you know you got robbed, of course you're going to be sad. You're like, motherfucker, the politics of this sport, and that's what it is. Not me. I think Canelo beat GG fair. So then why even bring up Golovkin's name? Just to be a racist troll. That's why. When I brought up Charlo, I'm bringing Charlo up as a comparison to Bud Crawford and how coming up from 154, both guys were pound for pound. Both guys were undisputed. Both guys were considered fucking elite, right? Yet we saw Charlo come up, and he's a natural 154 guy. And we saw what happened to him. He fucking fought like shit against Canelo Alvarez. Not that I think Bud Crawford's going to do that. I already stated. I think Bud Crawford's better than fucking Charlo. Always has been better than Charlo. Better resume than Charlo. Did more in his career. Never got beat by fucking bum ass guys like Tony Harrison. Right? I'm not a racist. I have Canelo beating Crawford. So then don't call me a racist because I got Crawford beating Canelo. So if that's your narrative, then fucking hold that to me too. Let's be consistent. Let's be consistent, my brother, because you never consistent. You're going to be on fucking John's channel talking loads of shit because you guys are just two-faced, man. See, the one thing you can come on my channel and know, you're going to get honesty and fairness. Whether you agree with it or not, that has nothing to do with you. I'm not trying to make you happy. I'm just giving my opinions. Whether you agree with it or not, oh well. That's tough. I'm not trying to kowtow to fucking any fan base or anybody in particular. Right? I'm just doing me. I don't have a narrative. So why'd you bring Golovkin into the conversation? You sound exactly like John Boxing. Whenever there's a conversation, you got to bring Golovkin in to do what? Try to make it racist. Try to make it racial. And try to showcase a non-black fighter who somehow didn't live up to expectation. Right? Like literally there's no need for you to even bring Golovkin's name into the conversation. It wasn't relevant. But once again, you always make statements that aren't fucking relevant to the conversation. I don't know who John is. Man, we got Waldo and Samson crashing out. These dudes, man, like, they're just always looking for some fucking way to troll. Right? Literally, every fucking comment Samson leaves is a troll comment, just like fucking Waldo. Like, I would love to see them just make a normal fucking boxing comment, boxing related, which wasn't a fucking troll comment. That's all. Just talk boxing like normal human beings. You say you got Canelo Alvarez winning. Okay. How do you have Canelo Alvarez winning? Why do you have Canelo Alvarez winning? They nervous for Bud. And this is John. He says, oh, no, we're not nervous about Bud. Yeah, you literally made 10 videos moaning and groaning about Canelo Alvarez weight advantage, right? And then another 10 videos crying and moaning that Canelo Alvarez fans are saying Bud Crawford's on PEDs. Well, you fucking say Canelo Alvarez was on PEDs. So what's the difference between what you're doing and what Canelo Alvarez fans are doing? There's no difference. You're both fanboys of fighters, and you're both fucking pushing narratives, right? Like, I don't need to hate on Bud Crawford. I don't need to hate on fucking Canelo Alvarez. I'm predicting Canelo's going to win, Bud Crawford's going to win. But that's not me necessarily hating on Canelo in the process. It's just I feel that Crawford has the ability to win. Is he going to win? We will see. But my prediction, as I already showed you, is a Bud Crawford victory by majority decision. And for people that don't believe me, because, some people come out here and they accuse you of things which have nothing to do with anything you've ever said or done, right? Just these generalizations consistently. People love these crazy generalizations, but there it is, Bud, by majority decision. Right there in blue and white. Uh, Canelo is too big and too durable. Crawford wasn't impressive at 154. Well, to be fair, Richard, Canelo wasn't impressive in his last fight versus William Skull. So you have both of their last fights. Neither guy was impressive. Bud Crawford wasn't impressive versus a Madrimov, a guy that ran and refused to engage. And Canelo wasn't impressive versus William Skull, who fucking ran and refused to engage. So, yeah, how are you going to look good against those kind of opponents? This fight, I think, potentially could play out more like Hagler-Hearns. Hypocrites ignore weight size advantage when their favorite fighter is bigger most of the time. Well, that's the funny thing. Like with some of these guys that are moaning and groaning about Canelo being bigger than Bud Crawford, but then say, oh, Canelo is ducking David Benavidez. Oh, so you're upset that Canelo Alvarez is bigger than Bud Crawford, but then you want Canelo Alvarez to fight David Benavidez. Right? Like literally when you make that statement, you show what a fucking hypocrite you are. Because literally you want Canelo to fight a guy who's far bigger percentage-wise than him compared to how much bigger he is to Bud Crawford. Like literally the percentages, if you did the math, and I'm not a math student, so I'll leave it to people that are better at math than myself, you would find out that the body physical differences between Canelo and David Benavidez is far bigger than the difference between Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, which is going to be insignificant, really, at the end of the day. Insignificant, right? Not only does Bud Crawford have a reach advantage, Canelo Alvarez literally has no advantage to David Benavidez. Not longer, not faster, not bigger, not younger. Like literally, Canelo has no advantages to David Benavidez. But these guys don't care about Canelo having no advantages. But then they're fucking in their feelings that Canelo has some advantages over Bud Crawford. And marginal advantages at best. I mean, marginal. I'm not talking about Skull. I'm talking about Crawford. Yeah, real. But see, that's why you're a hypocrite. Because you're giving Crawford no credit because he looked bad versus Madrimov. I'm showing you the duality of the situation, that Canelo didn't look good versus William Skull. So Bud Crawford and Canelo's last two fights, they both looked bad against dudes that fucking did not want to engage. So to hold those fights as meaningful is part of your problem. You can't hold Bud Crawford's poor performance against Madrimov against him and then give Canelo a pass, and vice versa. Once again, me being a fair, legitimate boxing fan, and some of you guys just being fanboys. John is picking Bud to win, so he has to give Canelo credit. The irony is he's not giving him credit, right? That's, once again, I don't understand that. Like, I have a video, I'm going to upload it like tonight, about Andre Ward's interview recently that he did yesterday. And I really felt that Andre Ward was going to come out in an interview and really do what he's always been doing. A lot of hateful negativity towards Canelo Alvarez. But to be fair, he was very fair and very professional in that interview. And you know, he gave both guys credit and talked about what a significant fight it is. And that's all I expect people to do. You don't have to fucking like Canelo. You don't have to like Bud Crawford. But just understand that this is a legitimate fucking fight between two of the best fighters in boxing. It's the biggest fight of 2025. And anything can happen. I would not be surprised whoever won. Skull lost easy. He didn't want to fight. Neither did Madrimov. Once again, Richard, your fucking narrative makes no sense at all. Benavidez and Canelo the same size, both fight at 168 and 175, but a lightweight. See, again, silly ass Chenko, that's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. So now everything that Bud Crawford's trainer told you, you're going to ignore. Like literally, Bud's trainer told you they should have been fighting at 160 or 168 fucking years ago. He said it, not me. And to say that Canelo and Benavidez are the same size, that's just something a stupid motherfucker would say. Because everybody knows that's not the case. Berlanga literally fought fucking Canelo. They're not the same size. One guy was 180, the other guy was 200 pounds on fight night. Devin Haney and Lomachenko, they ain't the fucking same size. Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, they're the same size. But I hear people going, oh my God, Ryan Garcia was bigger than Devin Haney because he didn't make the next day weigh-in or he didn't make the weigh-in. Okay, so he didn't make the weigh-in. But when fight night came, they were both fucking big motherfuckers. Both of them. Same reach, same height, same fucking body weight. They literally are the same size. When did I say I didn't give credit to Crawford? You just discredited him, saying you're picking Canelo to beat Crawford because Crawford didn't look good at 154 against Madrimov. You literally said that. I didn't put words in my mouth. That's exactly what you said. You're picking Canelo because Crawford didn't look good at 154 against Madrimov. You said that. He wasn't poor or he just wasn't dominant. Stop finishing people's thoughts. Dude, you said it. You don't want to give Crawford the opportunity to beat Canelo because you think he didn't look good against Madrimov. I said, well, that goes for fucking Canelo too because he didn't look good against William Skull. Like, did you finish high school? Are you on meds? Does your brain function like a normal person or do you have some special issues? Because if that's the case, just tell me and I will fucking keep that in mind when I talk to you. There is no narrative. You keep making words up. I make words up. In a chat log, I can't say all what I want to say. That's why you argue with people too much. You know how to read in the comments. You said you're picking Canelo to win, so you can't be racist. And you said the reason you're picking Canelo to win is because Bud didn't look good at 154. Silly ass. So Bomac was capping. Of course you're going to say that. You're going to fucking always twist the narrative, right? Because that's what bullshit artists like you do. You're full of shit. You lie. You twist the truth to fucking cap on social media. Sean, fire in the morning. It's Alonzo. Hope all is well. What's up, El Chicano? Even Devin Haney at lightweight was bigger than Canelo. Yes. You don't know how to read comments. I agree with you. Canelo didn't look good against Skull. But you're an idiot, Sean. Take care. So because you just got embarrassed, now you're going to run away? You're the one that said you're picking Canelo to win because Crawford didn't look good at 154. All I said was, well, if you want to be fair, then you have to say the same thing about Canelo, who didn't look good against William Skull. That's all. You don't need to get into your fucking feeble little fucking feelings over it. It's true. Bud didn't look good against Madrimov. Canelo didn't look good against Skull. Why? Because those two fighters didn't fucking engage. You can't read too much into that shit. That's just the reality. Not running. You need to learn how to read comments. I'm reading the comments exactly how you fucking wrote it. If you don't know how to write English, that's not my problem. Nobody would look good against a runner like Skull. Yeah, and it's hard to look good against fucking Madrimov the way he fought Bud Crawford. The dude always was moving, never fucking in range to land a shot. If you're not in range to land a shot, it's hard to fucking counter you. And that's why Bud Crawford didn't look great. That's why you argue with LDBC all the time, because you don't understand boxing. I don't understand boxing. See, right now, nothing you said makes fucking sense. Nothing you said had anything to do with me not understanding boxing. You're the one that seems like you don't understand boxing. You want to use one person's poor performance as a justification for another guy winning. All I showed you was that both guys had poor performances. So it's not really a great way to predict the fight. You could do it, you could do whatever you want, but think about what you're saying, right? Just be honest. Take care, Sean. Our our I know our teacher in China. You mean you're a teacher in Taiwan, not China. Uh, I would have left Canada too if I was you. It's too many rainbows there. I agree. I love Canada, but with the way our government's working, fuck, go Trump, go, go Trump, go. I mean, I wouldn't even mind at this point Canada becoming a 51st state of the U.S. And for 57 years, 56 years, you would never hear me make that statement. When I sparred some crazy heavyweights, I also ran. Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, you fighting dudes that have real power. You feel that shit, man. That's why Madrimov didn't sit down on punches and become more aggressive against Bud Crawford because he felt his punches and he was afraid of those shots. He didn't feel that way against Virgil Ortiz, so he fought far more aggressive versus Virgil Ortiz and ended up losing the fight. Scared to get a strike. Huh? See, I don't even know what you're saying, man. Again, you need to learn how to fucking write English. Is rainbow supposed to mean meaning gay? Well, you got fucking just as much fucking gay people, if not more, in fucking America. Did you see fucking male cheerleaders at NFL games? We don't have male cheerleaders at CFL games. So before you question Canada, you might want to fucking look at America. Your population is much bigger than ours. So the population of gay people in your country is far bigger than ours. But our politicians are obviously shit. I'm scared to get a strike. Am I going to get a strike for saying the word gay? Gay just means I'm happy. Your chat is full of gay. See, now you look like you're a fucking child. Like with these kind of fucking comments. You go from making a boxing prediction, but not really being able to fucking back it up, to now making stupid statements about gay. And you're the one doing a rainbow instead of saying the word gay. So it looks like you're more afraid of the word than I am. You're Asian now. Well, I don't think I'm Asian, but I do live in Asia. Let's hope Inui wins. Well, I hope Inui wins, but I obviously think that MJ is a great opponent, solid opponent, right? That's why I think out of the two fights, I think the Inui MJ fight potentially could be better. But we will see. At the end of the day, we get some great fights. Canelo versus fucking Bud Crawford, 2 pound for pound great fighters. Inui versus MJ, you 1 pound for pound fighter, one top fucking fighter who wants to make a statement. And he's still at a point of his career where now's the time. And it's not like I want Inui to lose because I want to see him against Junto Nakatani, which would be 2 pound for pound fighters facing each other again. So, yeah, you never can say who's going to win. In boxing, anything can happen, man. Anything. But let's check out some of this card. There's a couple other fights on this card that are not too bad either. Obviously, we got my man Takai, 11-0, 9 knockouts. Good little power puncher, right? 82% knockout rate. This kid's been in with very good opponents. Obviously, beating Jason Maloney, beating Diego Higa. Just beat this kid from Thailand in his last performance. Obviously, the kid should never have been in the ring with him. You know, not the most fights in his career, only 11 professional fights. But now he's stepping in to face Christian Jimenez, 25-4, never been stopped, from Mexico, 18 and knockouts, 25 years old. You know, on the outside looking in, the kid hasn't been in with very good opponents. He got beat by Nishida, who obviously was the WBO world champion over decision, got decision pretty easily. So they figure, obviously, for Takai, if Nishidi could beat him, then Takai can beat him. But the difference is, Nishidi's a fucking really good boxer, a really good boxer. And look at what Nishidi did against Junto Nakatani. He fought great in that fight. Like, he was very effective. He won rounds. He hit fucking Junto a lot in that fight, right? The difference was that his power just wasn't good enough to keep fucking Junto off of him. And Junto's power was just too much for him. So he was just able to beat him down and stop him late in that fight. So for Takai, Takai is not nearly as skilled as Nishidi. He's much more of a come forward bomber, right? And because of that, he's kind of tailor made for a Mexican fighter, right? Mexican guys love that style. So don't be surprised if Christian Jimenez doesn't fucking give a potential fight of the year against Takai, right? I don't know if he will beat him. That might be a bit too much to ask for, but it's definitely going to be an entertaining fight. You get two come forward fucking bombers. One guy never been stopped, another guy who lives for the knockout. So, on paper, that just makes fucking for a fantastic, super exciting fight. Then, of course, you got this kid. Where is he? Well, you got this guy who's very good. I don't know why he's so low on this card. Shiminachi, 21-1, 3 draws, 28 years old, very tall and long fighter. You look at his resume. His loss came in his third professional fight. He had a few draws here and there. And a lot of that's probably because he doesn't have that power to really change things. But wins over guys like Gio Sansima, that's a very good win. Sansima just had a victory yesterday or the day before, beating this Japanese fighter by 8th round knockout. So he's definitely a real player and somebody to pay attention to. This guy just came off of beating Arian Dipian. Obviously a very good win, a guy who's been in the ring previously with Inui. I think he went 8 rounds with Inui. Now he's fighting this kid. It should be easy work, right? 9-7. But obviously it's good that people are staying busy. And then you have this kid, up and comer. I go. 5-0, 2 knockouts. Was in with Sansima, beat him. When you look at the level of opposition he's been in with, right, pretty good so far. So not a lot of big name fighters on this. Obviously, the 2 main events are the ones people are paying attention to. You got this fighter as well, who's a good up and comer, Matsumoto, 6-0, 4 knockouts, taking on another Japanese fighter, very experienced, coming off of big wins versus John Kevin Jimenez in his last fight. And then this kid, who's 8-0, Tiago Imanaga, 8-0, 5 KOs. Another long Japanese fighter stepping in to fight for the Japanese vacant lightweight title. So, these kids are not really well known. Matsumoto, Imanaga, Takai, yes, Inui, yes, Ego, and the other guys, not well known, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be fun fighters to watch. So I'm excited. I always like to watch fights with dudes that I'm unfamiliar with and just be educated and maybe learn about somebody new. And with a lot of these Japanese fighters, you don't necessarily hear about them until they've obviously really done a lot, won world titles, and actually started to get a lot of attention. So you don't really know them when they're really raw and just prospects. Smash the likes, as my man says, El Chicano. So El Chicano, you picking Bud Crawford to win? Or Canelo? And what's your prediction? Canelo by knockout or by decision? But overall, It's going to be an exciting week. We already got shitloads of stuff on YouTube with boxing content about this fight. I mean, it's nonstop. Right here, the Porter Way, 21 hours ago, just came out with their breakdown predictions and the politics featuring Nestor Gibbs. So Gibbs is going to be on Porter Way. I'll listen to that. You got two casuals. I know Porter was a world champion, but the dude's still fucking a casual. Bacon and eggs. Good day, mate. Bacon and eggs. Who you got? Bud Crawford or Canelo Alvarez? And who are you picking? Anui or MJ? But overall, it's just non-stop boxing talk on YouTube with these fight breakdowns. So it's pretty exciting. Max Kellerman joins Joe Rogan and drops his breakdown for the fight. A guy called Henry came out with his breakdown 7 days ago. Talk Sports has been all over this as well. Johnny Combat came out and made his prediction. Sorry, I fucking had the hiccups all day. The shit's killing me. Oh my God. Cloyster, he just came out with a new video as well. Will Crawford be ready for Crawford? Will Canelo be ready for Crawford? His videos are really good, well thought out, well edited. Oh my God. Lawrence Osieke, I guess he's Nigerian, just came out with his video as well. Canelo versus Terence Crawford will not be close. Pro boxer breakdown. Boxing Voice just came out with an interview from Stephen Edwards that says, I think Bud Crawford can stop Canelo Alvarez. Can stop. That's a big ask, man. Bacon and Egg says, I got Canelo and Anui. David says, Eduardo Nunez going to get fights he wants now. Even Valdez is calling him out. Make Joet and Diaz. I got 100 on Canelo for the stoppage, 4-1 odds. Hold your breath for as long as you can. That's my trick for hiccups. I did it earlier and it stopped, so give me a second. Let's see. Oh, that didn't work. Fuck. It's been since last night all the way till tonight. So 24 hours. This shit's killing me. Oh my God. Harder Cole says, great big fighter. Great beats great small fighter, but is Crawford really so small? Definitely not experienced at those weights. Well, that's the thing. I don't think there's such a size advantage in this fight. I think when you look at it, it's kind of more like Leonard versus Hagler, right? Leonard was not a small welterweight. He moved up to middleweight. Hagler is not a huge middleweight. Height-wise, Leonard was taller. Hagler was 1 inch longer in reach. I think this fight is pretty similar. They're almost the same height. Crawford's got the reach advantage. So holding breath for views. Does it work? Only if I drop dead. Let's see if I do it one more time. If I drop dead live TV. No, didn't work. It's outsmarted me. I did it earlier today, but now it's like, fuck you. That shit ain't going to win it. 1 minute? You want me to hold my breath for 1 minute? I'll die. I'll pass out. And then Lily will have to take over the live. Are you ready, Lily? Can you take over the live as I pass out? Call 911. So, what's your prediction, Lily? Is Canelo Alvarez going to win or Bud Crawford? Oh, Bud Crawford. I see. She's like, I had enough of this fucking conversation. But Bud Crawford, obviously. But this hiccup's driving me crazy. I don't want to drive you guys crazy. So I'm going to be on Thursday for another live. Stay tuned to then. Jump on, say hello. And obviously, we're going to be making more boxing this week as well. Looking a little more in depth at these fights and the cards and other controversial topics that pop up during this period of time. Stay tuned for my what Mexican fighter is going to take over for Canelo, if there are any, and Andre Ward's interview with Chris Mannix, which I broke down, and I was impressed by Andre Ward's professionalism. He definitely got away from his hate train to do what he's supposed to do on fight night. So let's look forward to that. But thanks everyone for jumping in. I will see you next time. Hopefully my hiccups will stop by Thursday. Peace out. Ugh.